Hi, everyone, and welcome to A Better Future Starts Here, a live weekly show brought to you by the American Society for the Positive Care of Children. I'm your host, Tracy Kawa. American SPCC is dedicated to improving the lives of children in the United States. We are America's voice for children, bringing individuals and organizations to ensure that children are raised in safe, healthy environments so that they can become secure, confident leaders of tomorrow. Our goal is to bring you perspective, knowledge, and support from industry experts and leaders who are dedicated to empowering children and families. Today, we have a really special guest with us. Vivie Myrick is a 17-year-old actress, singer, and songwriter. She's appeared in CMT's Sun Records, Lifetime's Miss T's Music Factory, and most recently, she made it to the judge rounds of American Idol. Prior to the pandemic of 2020, Vivie had been in over 20 musical theater productions. When the stage productions came to a halt, Vivie had to make a creative pivot. She picked up her guitar, started writing music. She also started posting on TikTok, where she gained 518,000 supporters. She is currently working on her first ever EP and plans to release her music sometime in the fall. She's a strong advocate for maintaining a healthy presence on social media. Welcome, Vivie.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. You look wonderful. Thanks for being here. We're so excited.
Attitude is awesome.
Yeah. So you have an album being released in the fall. So tell us a little bit about that. You must be so excited, looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am. I'm very excited. So, obviously, like she said, I started doing musical theater. Like, I've been doing that my entire life, and I've been singing a lot, like live and things. But when the pandemic happened, I got into songwriting a lot more because you have all this time. So it was like, so I spent a lot of time writing music, and hopefully, I'll have something out in the fall. So I'm excited about it.
Wow. Tell us the truth. Did you write any songs about the pandemic?
Actually, I didn't, but honestly, I probably will. Like, that's a really good idea. Honestly.
So, how long have you been singing and acting?
Yeah, so I've been singing, like been taking voice lessons for about like 7 years, 7 or 8 years, like somewhere around there. And acting, I've been about the same. Like I've been doing both equally
Right.
long, and musical theater I've been doing for about 5 or 6. So I've been in that like my entire life. And when I was like a little toddler, like when I could talk, I had like this little play piano, and I would like sing with it for like literally like 4 years, and I was just three, like 3 years old.
You had it in your bones then. So, from what I understand, a lot of the songs on your album, your original album, were inspired from your own experiences with bullying, which is something that a lot of teenagers and, middle schoolers, I mean, even elementary schoolers face. So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, in elementary school, I experienced bullying a lot just because I feel like that's a really big area and where you experience it. So, I started like singing in elementary school, and I feel like once I started singing and finding something that I really enjoyed and getting good at what I enjoyed, then that's when people started bullying because they get jealous, and they're that's just how kids are. They get jealous and they start bullying people, and they tear you down. And then in high school, I had a lot of issues like my freshman year through, I mean, even now, because I have a presence on social media, so I still comments and things. And, and I kind of went through schools a lot because I could never find a school that I was like super happy with and that I felt like more comfortable in. So I was switching schools like quite a bit. So I was always kind of the new kid. And I would always, obviously, I posted on social media what I do, and people thought like I was bragging and I was annoying, and I was just like annoying person, and then they would try to drag down my looks and like say that there was something wrong with me. There's always, so I've always had an issue with it. Like bullying has always been a part of my life, and it it's just a part of a lot of people's life, which is so sad. I don't know why people can't just be positive, but
Exactly.
I know.
Why can we all just get along?
Yeah, I know, right?
Right? But the truth of the matter is that a lot of times God has us go through things so that then we can help other people and share the experience, right? So do you think that applies in your case?
Oh, I definitely believe that applies in my case because, I mean, it definitely helped me realize to not really care what people think as much because I used to be like a people pleaser, an extreme people pleaser. Like when people would bully me, I would never say anything to them. I would just sit back and I would like almost not change myself, but it made me like a really shy person. And then once I started doing theater, theater's a very loving community. Like it's just, I highly recommend it for anyone that goes through bullying. It's a very accepted community. Like everyone accepts you, everyone takes you in there. So after I started doing theater, I kind of became an extrovert and people didn't like it. And I was always known as kind of like the weird theater kid, but it was like, but
Weird
it's,
data?
what'd you say?
You say the weird data kid?
Theater kid. Yeah.
A
People
theater kid.
have this weird like view of kids that do theater. It's like they call you like a weird theater kid. It's just like something that people, it's like a stereotype, and it's super dumb because like it's
Right.
like it's a talent. Like I don't know.
It's a gift.
But it's a stereotype. It's like a theater kid. Like it's just one of those things. But once I started doing theater, I became like I stopped caring as much about what people thought about me, and I just did what I enjoyed, and I did what I enjoyed a lot. And then I was like, you know what, I'm done listening to y'all. And then I feel like that helped a lot.
Yeah. I love how you keep mentioning that you found something that you found purposeful, that you were passionate about. And it was once you started focusing on what really made you happy, the rest fell to the wayside. You knew you were good at something and you felt it and it empowered you. That's what I'm hearing. I love that.
Yeah, that's so important, I think, for a lot of kids nowadays to find something that you really enjoy and to put your time into that and try to get really good at it. Yeah.
That's wonderful advice.
Yeah.
One of the questions that's on my mind is what you think the difference would be between admiration and envy.
Right. Yeah. So I think admiration and admiration is more like, oh, like you can look at someone and say, oh, I see she's doing really well, like, oh my gosh, she has this many followers, she has a great song, like that's awesome for her, like wow. And then envy's like talking bad about someone behind someone's back and being like, oh, like like trying to make fun of someone just because they're talented at something, like what people did to me, kind of. That's the difference between. And I think there's a fine line between like doing it too much and like, because naturally as a teenager especially and as a kid, you're obviously going to get jealous of people. It's normal. Like it's not like I have moments and I'm like, dang, like she's got such a good body or she's so pretty. And it's like, I mean, even now I still experience it a little bit, but I still have the heart to like be like, oh wow, that's awesome for her and she's worked hard to get there, she deserves what she has. It's you have to make sure you do that a little bit, I think.
Yeah. And I appreciate the authenticity in that because I think you're right. I think everyone does have a moment of, wow, that person is doing this or this
Right.
person has that. And that is, kind of natural for us
Yeah.
to compare. But, like one of the things that I always talk about is, when we compare up, that should motivate us to step into like what it is that we really do and do well. And then, comparing down, that of course shows us how fortunate we really are, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of, especially with social media, there's a lot of kind of tearing yourself down just because of other people. And I feel like you should try to have a little admiration. I feel like people should try to have, especially now, like in these times, like admiration is super important for yourself and for others.
Right. What do you think, Vivi, of people posting everything seeming so perfect on social media?
Yeah. Um, I'm a strong advocate of like posting what is really happening. I like I try to like post, like, like you said, I post my relationship, and
Right.
I post kind of like if I'm like having a mental problem, or like I'm mentally like kind of sad or something. Like I try to help people through those things, and like talk about, like I've talked a little bit about my bullying and some things I've been through in my life. I'm a strong advocate for let's post things that people are going to understand and people have been through and that are relatable. But there are a lot of people like that compare themselves to people that post these things, but you have to understand, like, they're posting that, but that's not exactly what's happening. Like that's what you see, but there's a lot happening behind the scenes that you don't see, and that's super important to remember. So
Yeah, there's a whole different world, a whole different life going on, and people will post like a glimpse of something that looks so perfect.
yeah.
And in reality, that's not reality.
No,
In reality, that's not reality.
everyone has their differences, and everyone has like flaws that they see in themselves. So I
Yeah.
think talk about too. So
Yeah. Do you talk about stuff like that in your music?
I definitely do. Of course, I've talked about bullying in my music. I talk a lot about like the realities of today. Like I had a song about like how guys like ask for pictures of you and like things like that. And I've wrote a lot of songs that are very real, and that's something that I've always felt was super important, because you can feel a personal connection with people that listen to your music versus like writing things that make life seem perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A situation that somebody can relate to,
exactly. Yeah,
which is their core.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
What do you think that all of the adversity that you went through actually taught you as an overview?
Well, like I said, I think it taught me a lot, like to not care what people think, obviously, and just I mean, it taught me, just because of people being so rude to me. It taught me like what the importance of like being kind to people. I mean, I've never like been a bully
Mhm.
by somebody, but like
Right.
I've always believed in like trying to like compliment people, just to make them like feel better. Like, in public, when someone's wearing like a cute shirt, I'm like, I like your shirt, it's cute. Like, I mean, I know everyone's not going to do that, because some people are like have social anxiety, so they don't want to do that. But I just think spreading positivity like in everyday life is super important, because it can help, like it can make someone's day. So you never know like what you say and how it can affect someone. And for me, it's taught me to just spread kindness, and it's also taught me to like stay out of drama, because a lot of the times when you're a kid, especially, and when you're a teenager, people come to you and they try to talk about someone else, or someone tries to talk about the other. It's just a lot of drama, and I've always tried to stay out of that. And just, if someone comes to me with drama and I'm like, I just don't really want to talk about it, like, can we talk about something positive? Like,
Yeah.
I
That's, you'll just say it point blank.
right. Yeah. Definitely that.
I think a lot of people don't know how to do that. Children
Yeah.
as well as adults, people end up getting sucked into the drama when in reality, that's a great boundary to have.
Oh yeah, it can be hard sometimes. I mean, it's definitely normal to like catch yourself like doing that, but just take a step back and look at yourself and be like, okay, no, I don't need to do that. Like, everyone makes mistakes, everyone does something they don't necessarily love, but just realize what you've done, and try to stay out of it next
Right.
time.
And keep moving and make the next step a better step than the last one.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So if you could do anything different from those, from those teenage years, the bullying years, what do you think you would do differently?
I would definitely stand up for myself a lot more, because
Mhm.
whenever I was going through that, I let people step all over me, and I never really said anything to anyone. So like when they would do it, I would never be like, stop, like I would never stand up to them or anything. So I think if I would go back, I would try to like say something. I mean, I know I'm not gonna like start drama or start anything crazy.
Right, right.
It's something small, like, I would definitely stand up for myself for sure.
Yeah.
That's
Did you ever dream about it? Like, I know people have dreams where, they're in trouble and they can't fight back. And then one day they have a dream where they just fight back. And then after that, they're able to, step into their power and kind of fend for themselves. Do you ever have a dream about it?
I think when I was probably younger, I did. I've kind of now I think I've like I obviously still feel it sometimes, and it's like, oh. like that's kind of sad, but I kind of tried to let it in my past and let it go and like take it in and realize what, like, learn from it. But when I was younger, it was a really big issue. Like I had a hard time making friends because I wouldn't trust anybody. And I think now I try to write songs about it, you know, to learn from it and to look and reflect on it and to help other people through it. So
That's beautiful. And trust is so important,
oh,
right? We all need to have friends, and we all need to have people that we can
exactly.
trust, and people that we can share our thoughts and, our secrets with.
Right.
What is your advice to the teens of today?
Um, Such a hard question because it's such a different world, and it's so, especially with social media and everything. I think I would just
I'm sorry, I'm thinking like you're saying it's such a different world. So
it is,
it
especially it's because when I was younger and I was like in elementary school, it was like so it it was not about social media. It was like, let's just go to school and let's come home. And like it was so it was just normal. And now it's like weird and everything's on social media and everything's on freaking TikTok. And it's like, what is this? It's just a different world. But I think my biggest, probably the biggest thing I would say is to not start drama and to not, and try to stay out of drama, because that is like the biggest thing that I think starts bullying, because someone, it's all about drama, especially when you're in elementary school or when you're in middle school and high school. It starts somewhere and then it ends in something else. Because it always gets back to that person. So if you don't start it and you're not in it, then it probably won't get back to that person and it won't start the bullying. So I think just staying out of things and like trying to be nice to people, and also to, if you, especially nowadays with social media, because that's a really big part of life now. And if I see like a video, like you can look on the TikTok comments and it's like just these rude comments just bashing people, and it's like you think people think they know everything about everyone's life and like they know exactly what they're dealing with and things. And if I would say anything, it probably also be to just stay out of something. If you see something you don't like, then don't comment about it, don't try to get involved in it, just move on, you know.
That also segues into my next question for you, which is what would you say to someone who was bullying another individual?
Yeah, I would probably say, you don't know, like, I would take a second and like reflect on what you're saying and like what it means to somebody, because especially like in person school, like when you go to school, there was a lot of people that like would say stuff to me and they don't necessarily know what I go home to. They don't know, obviously I go home to a great family and everything, but there's a lot of people, and especially in public school and in all forms of school, that may be going to like not such a good life, or they're, you don't know what they've been through. They may be through, it may be like their pushing point. And especially nowadays, like I hate to bring up something negative, but nowadays there's a lot of like suicide and things like
Yeah.
that going.
And I'm
And
glad you brought that up.
exactly. There's a lot of it. And also it's a lot of times in elementary and middle school that's happening. And it's so sad because you're like, you don't know when it could be someone's push, like when you could push someone so far, and you don't want that on you. You don't want to be like, wow. Like, you just try to be happy and try to be positive because you don't know what someone goes through.
I think you raised a really good point, because there are times that kids like jank each other or make fun of each other, and you really don't know if that's going to be the last straw. And even if you say, oh yeah, why don't you go, kill yourself or something like that, if somebody bullies someone else and says something
Yeah.
horrific like that, there is a difference between saying something like that and between it actually happening and that being on someone's conscience for
I,
the rest of their lives. And that's really something to think about. I'm actually really grateful that you brought that up, because that is a tremendous lesson, because just think about the things that people say in general when they're angry, right? And then think about how extreme it could really get, that if somebody actually takes those words and puts them into action, it could be devastational, not just for that person, but for the person who said it as well.
right. It's a very big thing to think about, and a lot of people don't think about it because you don't want to think about it. You're like, oh, that's never going to happen, but it does. It especially happens a lot nowadays too, because it's social media, and you have this social media, and then you have school, and you have all these things piling on you, and you don't know what will push someone over the edge. So it's important to think about that when you're making those actions.
Right. Right. You had said that you were actually in a lot of different schools, right? And then you were homeschooled. Is that the case?
Yeah, so I went through all of elementary school like at one school, and then I moved in 3rd grade to another elementary school, and then I moved to a project-based school in 7th grade. And then I moved to for high school, I moved to a regular high school over where I live, and that was not good. So then we went to the counselor's office, and my mom was like telling her what was happening and all the issues that were happening. And she basically suggested homeschooling. And I was like, well, maybe you
Wow.
should issue. Right? It's like, y'all have nothing to do. The teachers were not very, they were not really watching what was happening.
Right.
So after I started homeschooling, it was obviously a really big difference, and I've loved it ever since. I've enjoyed it, and I still have friends like with theater and with my music, and obviously I try to make other friendships outside of school. So it's like,
Yeah.
I suggest it. It's a really good. It can be kind of socially like you're like, dang, I want to go to prom and I want to do all these things that like I can't do, but that you can find a lot of programs like around you that like do proms and do like classes, so you make social friends, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
So it could, on the one hand, be isolating socially. However, you can supplement all of the activities with
Right.
different activities of other homeschooling families. So that could be really fun.
Yeah, I went to a homeschool prom last year. Actually, it was really there was like a ton of people. It was like 230 people. Well,
Whoa.
not last year. It was the year before.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
before the
Right.
pandemic.
Pre-COVID. I
Yeah,
get it. But
yeah,
wow, that's still 230 people. That's a lot of people. You would think,
yeah.
like maybe a handful of people in their dates, but no, that sounds huge.
It was huge. It was like a ginormous group of people, and I was like, okay, so this is like a pretty normal thing.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
yeah, there's like a stereotype of homeschoolers that people are like, oh my gosh, they're like weird and they like don't talk to people, but no, we're perfectly normal. I promise.
You've got the double stereotype, in other words. You've got the theater kid stereotype and you've got the
Yeah,
homeschool stereotype. That's it. You've got a lot of stereotypes to break out of there, right?
yeah.
So what city, or state do you live in currently?
I was born in Memphis, and I live in Arkansas now. I'm just like right across the bridge, so I'm like right there. It's
Got it.
Memphis, so I go to a lot of the things I do for my music are in Memphis, but I live in Arkansas.
I'm just trying to figure out that amazing accent that you have there.
That's the Arkansas. Yeah,
Arkansas accent.
yeah.
And then what is your favorite thing to do on your own time,
Um,
other than your singing and songwriting and acting?
hard to say because that's like all I do.
Got it. I
Yeah, it's like I can't break out of it. It's like I'm obsessed with it. I've learned to play the guitar like during
Ooh,
I've been I've been learning the like acoustic and also the electric guitar I've learned over the past few weeks. And I've been also learning how to produce my own music in the past few weeks too. I'm doing like a Charlie Puth class. And you know who Charlie Puth is?
yes.
Yeah, he's actually doing like this online class. So I'm doing a class on producing with him, and
Very
he's
cool.
all this stuff. So I've been like touching base with that a lot. So I'm making music for my room now, which
That's
is
so neat. That's awesome. Yeah, and you also had your own publishing company that you had started, correct?
yes.
What was the story behind starting that?
Oh, I'm sure you know who Taylor Swift is. Like everyone knows who Taylor Swift is. So, back in the day, Taylor Swift, like, oh, I don't know why I said back in the day. It was like 2004, but like in 2004, she started. How old is she? I don't know, but she was like a young teenager, about 13 or 14.
Okay.
She did the album Fearless and like Love Story and all those super popular songs that she had that she first did. And now, years later, her company that she that published that for her was like, oh, you can't, we have the rights to it, you can't sing it. And so she had to redo the entire album this year. She actually just came out with it, and she had to redo the entire thing, like years and years later. So when I saw that happen, I was like, okay, I think I need to create my own publishing company. So basically I have the rights to all my music and all, like just everything. So no one can ever say you can't do it, because I have the rights to it. So I'm never going to, just because I learned from that, I was like, I'm not going to run into that issue. So we're just going to make my own. So my mom's kind of been helping me with that. And it's just like an online thing. It's not easy, but it's also, you have to do paperwork, and you just send it in, and like to like this company, I forget what it's called. And then, yeah, so I learned from that, and I was like, that's not going to happen. Let's make sure we do it right. Right.
We hear too many stories like that in the music
Oh,
business.
yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah, and you are a smart businesswoman.
Yeah, I've tried. Yeah, just look at things and I'm like, oop, just not do that. Because my uncle actually has a band. He was super popular in the '90s, and he his band didn't do that, and they also had ran into that issue. So their music is like still playing on radios in like London, and they're not getting any of the money.
Wow.
So
But that really happens, right? When people are young and aspiring, and quite often they can be desperate to break it and
right.
break into the business in any way possible. And you don't realize you may be selling your soul. You may be signing away your rights for the rest of eternity.
Oh yeah, I've definitely. That's why I'm like going so slow, and I'm like, okay, we need to make sure we do everything right, just so that my future is lined up versus like rushing into things now. So, yeah.
Right. And that's really, honestly, spoken like a true entrepreneur. Because a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs jump in head first without realizing to cross the T's and dot the I's. And you're doing that. You're pacing yourself, you're crossing your T's, you're dotting your I's, you're making sure all of your operations and your paperwork and your contracts are in place. That's a beautiful thing. So congratulations to you for having such a great business head on your shoulders.
My mom helps me a lot too, so I can do without her. She helps me like so much, and that's also, you don't find that a lot of times parents aren't very like, what they don't understand like the music business and how. But me and her both done our research, so we're like she's my momager. We're like,
Okay, we have to do a shout out to Liz, because we love Liz. Hi, Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give to aspiring actors, actresses, musicians, people who want to display their talents?
Yeah, I would say, just like I've been talking about, like we've been talking about, take your time, and also, when you're doing it, like don't stress about it not happening too quickly. Because I have like people that I know that are like in their 40s that are like doing it, like they're literally doing the thing, and they're making money, and they're getting so many views, and they're like still freaking out about it. It's just a constant thing. When you're a music artist, you're like, oh my gosh, it's not happening fast enough. We're like, it's just like a freak out thing. But I think it's important to realize that it takes time, and it sometimes can take up to 2 years just to even like start making music, and it's a really long process, and I think a lot of times that gets away from people. So that's super important to remember.
Yeah, people think it just happens overnight.
Yeah, no, it takes so much time, and even I struggle with it now. And I'm like, I'm only 17, but I turned 18 in December, and all my friends are talking about college, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? It's like a scary thing, because I'm not going to college. I'm just doing music, and I'm gonna focus on that, because I don't want to. I don't have time to like go to full-time school. I may go to cosmetology school, but I'm doing music like full-time, so it's kind of scary. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm almost 18, and I don't know what's going on. But my management's like, calm down, it's normal. We're gonna get through it. So it's kind of it's scary, especially when you're a teenager and you're like, and you see all your friends like going to college and all that. So that's, yeah. But just remember, it's gonna happen.
But the other part of that is, and I know that I don't want to take us too far off track with this, but I have to say, the other part is that I think that, young people think it's all or nothing. Like, I have to go to college and be all in full time, or not go? Well, what about going to a community college and taking some business classes or taking some music classes or taking, just some type of basic level class so that in the future, if you ever want to, you can build upon those core curriculum
Yeah.
classes.
It's definitely important to have a some form of backup plan. I mean, I hate saying that, but you never know if it's going to work. So you kind of have to have something to fall on just in case it doesn't. Like me, I plan on I'm going to try to go to cosmetology school next year just so I can. It's actually a quick program, and it's like doable to do while you do music. So I'm hoping I'll go to cosmetology school just so I can fall back on like hair,
Right.
makeup, and all that kind of thing. So
Got it. You like that too?
yeah, that's
So.
so.
Well, you're not going to need that plan because from what I hear, you are extremely talented. Are you going to give our audience a sample of that amazing voice of yours?
I can sing something. I don't know if I have anything. I can like pull up a karaoke track or something on YouTube.
Am I putting you on the spot?
Do I have my guitar? Crap. Do you want me to do something like off a karaoke track on YouTube?
Yeah, do something.
Okay, what song do you like?
Oh my goodness.
Favorite?
I love Jewel.
Jewel. What do I know?
Do you know Jewel?
I'm trying to widen my music.
Well, now you've just been introduced to Jewel. Oh, do something by Taylor Swift. You love Taylor.
Okay. Yep, that's a good
I
one.
think you're only like allowed to sing like 4 bars before you get like copyright infringements or something. Like
We're like
real short snippet. I may have to like edit it.
I'm trying to see. Okay, how about Back to December? No.
You can do something a cappella of your own.
Oh, I would, but I don't know if I can share it yet.
Got it.
Because it's like secret. You know what? I'm gonna do a Billie Eilish song because I sing her really well, so that's a good one. Okay, I found one. Hold on, we gotta wait for the intro.
I like it.
This is so on the spot, but it's fine. It's practice. Okay. Yeah. I'm no good for you. I've learned to lose. You can't afford to. Tore my shirt to stop you bleeding, but nothing ever stops you leaving. Call you when I'm coming home and I'm on my own. I can lie, say I like you like that, like you like that. I can lie, say I like you like that, like you like that. That's all I'm gonna do.
That was amazing. Oh my goodness. Girl, you are so talented. That was fantastic. Thank you for sharing that beautiful voice with us. Okay, let's tell our viewers where they can find you. On Instagram.
Ooh, we have a little thing.
Yeah, I made little banners. Instagram, Vivie_Myrick. Yeah, and then on Facebook, Vivie Sings. And then one more. We have our TikTok. It's _Vivie Myrick. So definitely look up Vivie. She is amazing, amazing, amazing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to thank you very, very much for being with us today. You were an amazing guest and your voice is incredible. I think you're going to go on to do some really great big things and share your message with the world. I love it. Your message of positivity and standing up for yourself and just finding what it is that you're most passionate about and being in it. minutes.
Well, thank you
So
again for allowing me to do this. This is awesome. This has been great.
absolutely, absolutely. You hang on one second, and I'm just going to do our quick outro. So if you are looking for more resources like this, please visit our website at americanspcc.org. And by the way, don't forget to download the Happy Child app, which is a wonderful app that helps us deepen our relationships with our children. So, to contribute to the conversation, or if you know somebody who's doing amazing things like Vivies out in your community, then please contact us at info@americanspcc.org. Let's make a difference together. Again, visit us at americanspcc.org. Learn how you can get involved, learn how you can help or be a brand ambassador. And remember, a better future starts here.